Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. One of the things that I want to do is I want to bring you some interesting stories of companies that have launched new products or businesses during COVID-19. And I came across an interesting company that I thought has got some interesting ideas. And I want to introduce you to John Ricci, who is the President, CEO, Chairman at Denovation. Is that correct?
That's correct. Ricci, but I'm good with that. Thank you, Brian.
Ricci, apologize. John Ricci, not Ricky, Ricci. And before that, he ran a company by the name of Dana Industries, which I think Denovation is sort of part of. He's got an education from York University in Seneca. And Mr. Ricci, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'm very good, Brian. How are you?
Very well. So tell me a little bit about what it is that you're doing.
Okay, so you touched on it. So I started Denovation or Dana Industries with my business partner, Frank Borges, in 1993. Denovation is a startup within Dana Industries. Dana Industries is home of the world's best engineered shelf talker and basically is a supplier to the top retailers in North America for at-shelf visual merchandising signage.
Shelf visual merchandising.
Yeah, so shelf talkers, blades, wobblers, danglers. You go to a Walmart, for example, and see a rollback sign, a little bean flip mod label holder with a price inside of it that's printed on perf paper, etc. That's something that we've continued to do in the retail landscape in North America.
But then you've launched something new with Denovation. Tell us what that is.
Correct. So Denovation basically is taking the next generation of how you price merchandise at labels or how you pass on information to a consumer. We're removing the paper labels and the tedious task of printing on a laser printer, SKU changes that retailers make on a weekly basis, price updates that they would make on a weekly basis, all the third-party mail out that you print out, send your package to stores. It goes to the various stores for implementation at the store level. So removing the whole labor process and paper printing process, as well as removing ink and cartridges and toner inks from stores and supplying what we call a digital smart label, which is a
digital smart label.
Smart label, that's correct.
So just like, everyone has talked about how during COVID-19, we've had 8 years or 5 years or 9 years of digitization within our last 8 to 9 months. It's happening in things as ordinary as labeling as well.
Labeling to an industry that hasn't had a change in, I'd say, 40 plus years. There's been
That's interesting. So your industry has not changed in 40 plus years. And now all of a sudden, is this because of COVID or it would have happened anyway?
It started happening, but it's a combination of labor rates going up, tech-savvy customers, the tech that is now available to do the technology of a wireless system that doesn't require at-shelf wiring. Prices have come down. So it's kind of hit the midpoint where it is affordable and retailers can see an ROI pretty quick with a digital smart label in their stores this day and age. So the time is.
So what does this digital smart label actually do?
So basically, traditional store changing 2,000 pricing or SKUs in a store this week. So what that involves is there's a file management team and you have head office. They're changing 2,000 SKUs today. So either the price change goes to each store. So let's say there's 100 stores and each store has to print out perf paper and labels with the new prices. The employees then have to go around aisle by aisle, finding what prices have to be changed, cross-referencing UPC codes on a sheet, changing out by hand each label, or a third-party mail-out company is assigned that task of doing all the printing and then sending those packs of SKU changes to the 100 stores. What digital does is at the point of price changing on your system, because we tie your POS system into our software, tied into our hardware, it's a whole wireless transaction. At the point that you change the 2,000 prices at head office and basically hit enter, for example, at 12:01 a.m. tomorrow morning, those 2,000 prices are changed in the 100 stores.
But the sticker that we would typically find right on the something or other.
No sticker.
has been replaced by what? A little visual readout sign?
It's a digital e-ink display that you can put black, red, yellow, white on. You can put photos and pictures of the product. You can put anything that you would put on a PDF label, we could apply on that digital. So we have template system that we can put anything that you want on there. We can get pretty close to not picture, but image quality. So it does replace the paper.
And so what's the ROI for the retailer? The labor saving of wandering around and putting all these new stickers in?
Well, so if you compare your labor with your cost of your paper, your inks, and your toner, it's basically a wash in your first month, the way our platform works. Because we work with a retailer and we do an assessment. They'll give us file management numbers. We know going into a store at the second or third meeting, how much is costing that store to do price changes every week. The beautiful thing about DSL is when we're asking a retailer how many price changes they make in a week, and they'll say 1, maybe 2, and it's costing us, I'll give you a typical grocery store, $7,800, almost $8,000. Our system all in will run you under $6,000. Our system, though, could make price changes every hour if you wanted to. Whereas a traditional system, if that retailer wanted to make SKU changes again Friday or Monday or next Wednesday, every time he does it, he's incurring that extra cost. So in most cases, a retailer would actually make more price changes if they could, but it's just very expensive and it's a tedious task. You have people walking in aisles and they lose their spot. You have accuracy issues, but with a digital smart label system, you can react to, we have a snowstorm, for example, we have an ice storm, some kind of event happening, a sporting event, where retailers are able to, capture margins in real time, offer dynamic pricing, matching competitors' prices.
Is this
engaging with the consumers, product reviews, all kinds of things.
Good for the consumer, or is it bad for the consumer?
Well, it's good for the consumer.
It sounds like you're talking about surge pricing, like these $7,000 energy bills that we hear about in Texas.
No, you would think that, right? But so I worked in retail, so a retail store, and they would back me up on this, is limited or not limited. There's reasons why prices go up. It could be, if we're talking produce, yes, it might be because there was a drought or there's something that happened in the point of produce where it was grown on a farm. And you always read stories of, the price of oranges juice might be up this year because of the crop, et cetera, et cetera. But when you become more efficient in your store and there's less errors, there is less food loss due to declining inventory levels as it compares to the drop-off point of the produce going on a day-by-day system, expired products on the shelf. There's a factor, a number that's associated that everybody has that adds to why prices are going up in a store. It's not like we would think, oh, the surge pricing, we're just going to jack up pricing. You're also going to put pricing down. Now, consumers are tech savvy. What they do in stores right now is they'll walk up to a product and they'll showroom with their cell phones. They'll showroom, and if you're sitting across a product and it's $9.99, they're going to show them, you know what, I can go across the street for $7.99 and get that same product. They're out of your store. So you have to be able to work with your tech savvy customers and give them, consumer engagement features on a label, not to, jack up pricing, but you need to respect who's coming into your store.
Right.
You want to be able to have a system that can relate to that.
Fascinating. We're going to take a break. We're just chatting today about digital smart labels with John Ricci, who is the president CEO of Danovation. Stay with us. We're going to take a break.
Great.
Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. We're chatting tonight with John Ricci, who is the president, CEO, and chairman of a company that has invented and is distributing digital smart labels. And the company, John, is
Danovation Technologies Corp.
Danovation. And are you located here in Toronto?
We're located in Etobicoke. We're moving to a new site in Vaughan in about 4 weeks.
Okay. And did you invent these smart labels, or is this something that you're just sourcing in from elsewhere and distributing in Toronto?
Well, no, we didn't invent them, but we're perfecting them, and we design and engineer our hardware in Toronto in our office, and we design and engineer our own software. So we have proprietary technology that behind our system, behind our tags, and behind our software.
Now, can you describe what it is that a smart label is?
Basically, great. So what you're seeing here is similar technology to your Kindle. This is e-ink. You have a nice
E-ink. What is e-ink?
it's a e-ink is like your Kindle displays, or imagine back in the day an Etch-a-Sketch with magnetic colors that basically when you send a change form your basis of what you see here, your pricing and your SKU label and the description, etc., and anything else that you want to put on there. So we can make this tag in various sizes: 1.5, 2 1s, 2 9s, 4 2s, 7 5s, tablet size. We're also a custom manufacturer of tags that our customers dictate what they'd like to see, and we can make a custom size.
And these hook on the shelves or something like that, and they're Wi-Fi enabled, not hardwired.
That's right, correct.
And what about battery power? How do they get their electricity?
A 10-year battery life, lithium batteries in the back.
Cool.
So if you change pricing once a day, these batteries will last you 10 years. Each tag has a specific ID. Each tag talks to the system. We can tell you exactly if there's a tag on a low battery with an alert system. So it talks back to the system.
Okay, and you've got on this in the bottom right-hand corner, yep, the whatever that code's called. What's that code?
Well, it's a QR code. So we can put, so what you see here is we can put anything on this tag that a customer could imagine. In this case, a basketball jersey, price, a visual of the basketball jersey. You can have a review of that basketball jersey and a QR code that a customer or our customers can choose to put on these tags, which provide access for a customer on their smartphone to get whether a commercial, and you can direct that code to any basic website, product information, video, etc., what have you.
So if I go up to this QR code with my phone camera, I can connect up to a video that advertises this basketball jersey?
Yeah. Well, if you have a QR reader, and you can download them on an app, so you get your QR code reader, and you were to scan your reader app over the QR code, that QR code will display whatever the customer wants it to display. So on your phone, you may see, if it's, say it's basketball, if it's a basketball jersey, you may see players playing basketball or whatever you want. So you can direct that to anything that you'd want. So this is part of our, engaging customers into this technology. But a QR code's been around for a while, so that's one of the things we can do. We can put product reviews. You can put on a liquor label or a wine label information on particular bottles of wine and rankings and ratings. We can put
is the image static, or can you make it to move?
It's static.
I guess moving the image will be the next derivation of your technology.
Well, what's interesting, so this tag caches 4 different screens. So when our signal goes to the system to change the price, you could actually change not only a price, you can change the screen. So it's cached in there. So you could, 30 seconds later, you can put this jersey on sale. 30 seconds later, it may just show an inventory module of that jersey in the store. 30 seconds later, you can show a clearance of that same item. So you can change the image on that screen basically at will, on a schedule, whenever you have to, depending on what information you like displayed at that moment.
Cool. Really quite interesting. How did you come up with this new concept?
We've been in the retail landscape for about 30 years. We do a lot of trade shows. We travel around the world a lot, and you come across technology sometimes that isn't quite ready to be commercialized. In this case, there were some early adapters, I'd say 10 plus years ago, that were using similar, but they were using LCD screens. So LCD screens were similar to your thermostat. If you touch it, you get that fade. If you look to the side, it would fade out. You couldn't really read it. So technology has come a long way. So the technology has really become a little bit more prominent in the digital world, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago.
So you found it really at a trade show.
We looked at trade shows, tech trade shows, approach people.
And you've been in the printing business, the labeling business for a while, and you saw this new technology and decided to launch it. And you launched it during COVID?
We launched it during COVID. And what's interesting is, COVID, it's really a tragic situation that the world faces right now. But you look at restaurants when they're open in retail establishments, masks, hand sanitizers, gloves, it's a touch point issue right now, social distancing. When you look at a digital system in a store, it has this aesthetic, clean look to it. So in the COVID world, it's almost become something that retailers looking at in the next 2-3 years. It's almost a have to have type of a system. It's cleaner, it's more efficient. You're taking away the touch points, you're taking away potential areas that could be not infected, but it just we've been in this business a long time, and cleanliness is as the utmost importance to retailers right now. And having a digital system is a cleaner system overall. Gives you a cleaner look as well. So instilling consumer confidence in your system, in your stores, is paramount to a retailer of the future. And what we're offering and we're trying to show is the retail world in the future is going to be, firmly believe that's going to be digital.
How do you make money? Do you sell it up front or is there a subscription or what?
Subscription like a cell phone, a 3, 4, 5-year plan. You pay monthly and it's just a recurring monthly. We have our hardware and we have software. We have our warranty built into it. And 5 years later, you can renew it, choose to renew it, upgrade the technology. So it's just an ongoing system that we give you automatic updates, and so it's a really cool, clean, fresh way of doing business.
What's the target market? Is this primarily grocery stores or is it every retailer?
So a good question. So when we started in 2018, and even one of our service trucks has automate pricing. Automate pricing applies to retail grocery or retail non-food stores, but we're in healthcare automating patient records and aftercare facilities. We're in distribution warehousing facilities, helping streamline the inventory process, putting lights on the system where you have a pick and go system. Military applications where we're automating.
Military application. What's the military application?
Yeah, so interesting. So an Air Force base in the US is working with us to perfect a system based on our system and working hand in hand to automate the workflow for the maintenance of the military equipment, such as aircraft. I mean, so many hours in the air equates to so many hours on the ground of maintenance. Being able to pick parts in a more efficient manner is a time-saving. There's a time saver for the bases. So we're working with them. Animal shelters and hospitals, automating pet records.
Animal shelters. Yeah. Really?
Adoption centers automating pet records on a tag in a kennel cage for to facilitate an easier adoption process. So things like that. We're working with some pharma companies to automate information that goes to machines inside of the pharmaceutical facilities. So it's morphed into not only automating pricing, but it's automating information.
How are the retailers and others responding to your approaches?
Well, we're busier than ever. We're getting a lot of calls. We're getting some good inquiries from our website. We've got a real good sales team, and they're knocking on a lot of doors. And it just makes too much sense right now to not do this, or at least not entertain and look into doing this.
What's the key to success? Is it the access to the technology that you found at that trade show? Is it your in-house engineering group? Is it the salespeople? What are the keys to your success?
So, we saw the technology. The key to our success is we're a self-sufficient company. So we're founded in Canada. We're North America's only ground-based in North America DSL provider. We have our own team here. We design our own hardware. We have our own software platform. We have our own tech support team. We have our own server recovery protection system. We offer North American retailers home field advantage. what you see is what you get. We're not an outside company coming in and displaying or selling somebody else's product. It's our product. It's a Danovation. We do a lot of innovative things here, and like I said, we have a lot of proprietary.
What's the future for Danovation, sir?
The future is all kinds of IoT, facial recognition, data analytics, working with our retailers, helping them fine tune.
What do you facial recognition? Are you going to have a label that recognizes my face?
That technology is actually out there. Facial recognition is a very controversial
Big
topic.
Time.
Yeah, there's Privacy Act, but not facial recognition as to specifics of intruding on a person, but tracking movement in a store, tracking customer buying patterns, buying habits, hot zones in stores, where to focus is, where you need a little bit more activity, things like that. So we're very conscious of the Privacy Acts and people.
So what you're saying is the technology in your area that's been stagnant for 40 years and has just really changed with digital smart labels is not going to stay still. There's a lot more to come.
There's a lot more to come. Exactly.
Fascinating.
And working with Danovation, our whole future is, as we upgrade and as we update, as we come up with new cool ideas and fresh ideas to help both consumer and retailer, we're there for them.
Well, John Ricci, the President, CEO, Chairman of Danovation, thank you so much for joining us and telling us a little bit about digital smart labels and how you've launched this brand new technology and product during COVID-19. If people are interested in checking you out, do you have a website that they can go to?
Danovation.com. We're also a publicly traded company on the CSE under stock symbol DVN.
Excellent. Really appreciate you joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Take care.
We're going to take a break and come back with another interesting company in just a minute. Stay with us.